normative language is like a value laden, like a judgmental statement. So the big one word, and maybe the crowd can help me out here. What's the one word that indicates normative language more than anything
Should.
else? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Brianna, you got it. Eden's got it. Tiffany, everybody's got it. Should. Should is, that's the word that, you know, the lawyer in the room just sort of their ears perk up like, wait, what now? You're telling my client what they should or should not do? The natural next question is just, what's your evidence for that? Like, why should whatever? Okay. And I mean, this has like extremely real life consequences, right? Or what, wait, what? Why should abortion be protected under the US Constitution? It doesn't say the word abortion in the Constitution. You're going to tell me that abortion is a constitutional right because abortion should be protected, because why now? And you better have some good evidence for that. So on the LSAT, when we see should or should not, or other things would be like better than or worse than, or even, you know, we need to do this or we need not do that. Those kinds of things where you hear somebody saying, you know, like, how about, what if the first sentence of the argument goes, we must adopt Counselor Smith's plan? It's like, whoa, hold on, what? I haven't even heard Counselor Smith's plan, but you're saying we must adopt Counselor Smith's plan? And I'm just expecting something like that. You know, it's like anything bossy. I'm expecting bossy shit to have evidence somewhere in that passage. And it doesn't always have to be the case. I mean, they can violate that easily. They can say, we must adopt Counselor Smith's plan. Adopting Counselor Smith's plan requires that we do either A or B. We can't do A, so we have to do B. Well, then, okay, the conclusion of that argument isn't we must adopt Counselor Smith's plan. That was actually a premise of their argument. And then they also provided, well, the plan means we have to do A or B. And then there's another premise that says we can't do A. And then the conclusion is, therefore, we have to do B. Sometimes on a conclusion question, they're going to give you the keywords, which I just did. I said, therefore. And that's not, again, also not hard and fast rule. That doesn't always mean that that's the conclusion of their argument, but it very frequently does. But it's one of the things to look for. I mean, I guess to back off of it a step, right? To just kind of remove yourself from the individual premises a second. How do we know what the conclusion of the argument is? What the fuck do they want? Why do they write this thing? Ultimately, what is their plan of action? What is the thing that they're really trying to sell us? Some of what they have said is what they're trying to sell. And some of what they have said is evidence for the thing that they're trying to sell. And so in the example that I just gave, in the first sentence, if they said, we must adopt Counselor Smith's plan, I would be thinking like, oh, that might be your conclusion. Like, why do we have to accept Counselor Smith's plan? But if they then proceeded with adopting Counselor Smith's plan requires either A or B, we can't do A, we must do B. Well, the thing they're selling there is B. It's a premise of that argument that we have to adopt Counselor Smith's plan because they haven't provided any evidence in support of we have to adopt Counselor Smith's plan. That was just a premise of their argument. How you feeling?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like another like aspect of conclusion questions is like kind of what you just said. The conclusion has to be supported by other
Yes.
aspects of the
Oh, for
argument.
sure. Yes.
Yeah, so that's something I'm also looking out for.
That's critical. Hey, most of these arguments are 2, 3, 4 sentences. And one part of what they said is going to be supported by the other shit they said. So if it's a conclusion question, you know, the correct answer for sure has to be something that had some evidentiary support in the other 2 or 3 sentences that they said.
Yeah,
So if you're
another,
looking at it, if you're looking at the argument as a whole and you think that, this first sentence, we have to adopt Smith's plan, is the conclusion, well, okay, if that's the conclusion, then where's their evidence that we have to adopt this plan? And if the other things aren't support for that, then that's not the conclusion of their argument.
something that's been troubling as well is like getting a conclusion question in the 20s where the conclusion isn't explicitly stated in the argument.
That
Like,
happens
how would
too.
you go about attacking that?
I always try to predict the answer for a main conclusion question. I do it naturally because I'm trying to attack these fact patterns. Okay. And, they don't have to explicitly state their conclusion. They could say something like the only two candidates for president in 2020 are Trump and Biden. Biden weirdly likes to touch females in photo ops. We can't elect someone who weirdly likes to touch females in photo ops. And if that's all they said, what's the conclusion of that argument?
We shouldn't elect Biden?
Or we should vote for Trump. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, obviously not an argument that I would actually make, but you you have to think about like, well, what possible thing could they be meaning here? Why would they give me these weird facts? Why would they tell me this shit about the election and Biden and whatever? And why would they say these things? Like, what's their fucking point? And the point of the argument that I just made, which is not an argument, again, not an argument that I would actually make, but the point of that argument was we should vote for Trump. Okay.
okay. Yeah.
So, and I didn't use any keywords there, right? I didn't use since
Right.
and because and therefore and so and all those things that might like telegraph what my conclusion was. But nonetheless, if I said our only two choices, like everybody has to vote and our only two choices are Biden and Trump, and Biden is weird and we can't elect anyone weird. Well, the only reason why you would ever say those things is we have to vote for the other guy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That makes a lot of sense and clears it up.
Yeah. I mean, what do they want? They put this shit here on the paper for a reason. Why did they give you these facts? You don't have to agree with them.
Right.
You have to figure out what they want.
Yeah. Something you said in an explanation was, why did they waste my time with this?
Yes, totally. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm thinking on reading comp too. It's just like, man, why did they write this whole long ass thing? Like what's their purpose here?